We can go read it. time I went out, I always had fun. Right.
More people here. Oh, goodness, yeah.
Yeah, so AllOnGeorgia. I spoke with you yesterday. I'm good. It's good to have you here, and hopefully it'll be a peaceful, civil conversation. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's staff right there.
This is a live stream. It's on AllOnGeorgia.com. Going live right now.
Sorry. Are you recording?
We'll stream it live.
Okay, I don't know that you're authorized.
Title 50, Section 12. I can
Of what?
Section 12, Title 50 of the Open Records, Open Meetings Law.
Okay, because it's not technically a public meeting.
So this is not a public facility?
This is a public facility. Okay, well then.
So it's not a public meeting?
Well, they're generally not. The point of them is for students to have conversation among themselves in a way that allows them to be vulnerable.
Okay.
So that's generally why we don't encourage people outside of the community to come in.
There are people here from outside.
Oh, clearly, and that's we're not going to turn anybody away. We have no intention of being.
The newspaper was here last time.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm not making any. Yes, but streaming, we just need to let the students know.
That's fine.
Okay.
That'll be your responsibility, right?
Right. Well, not mine, but I'll let the folks who are organizing it know. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Michael Butcher, I'm the Assistant VP for Student Affairs and Dean of Students. I want to very much thank everyone for taking time out of their day to attend the Let's Talk Coastal event today. This is the second one we've had in just a few days concerning this topic, so I appreciate you all being here. A little bit about what Let's Talk Coastal is all about. It is about us getting together to talk about pertinent and relevant topics. There's Brittany Garcia, who's going to moderate the Let's Talk Coastal, has been doing this for the last couple of years and bringing students together to talk that have differing viewpoints and opinions about certain topics. And just for us to talk in a group and talk in both a civil and a respectful manner with each other, mainly over topics that may be complex or may be very emotionally fueled. And so we want to create an environment that's a safe place where we can chat about these and also listen to each other, but also hear each other's point of view. What I want to just talk about before we get started, we're talking again today about the Take a Knee national anthem protests that have occurred. A statement has come out from the institution that some of you may have already seen. I do want to share that with you before we get started. The College of Coastal Georgia reveres our national anthem and flag of the United States and believes that Americans should stand as a mark of respect during the anthem. At the same time, we respect the constitutional right of our students to exercise some freedom of speech as protected under the First Amendment. In the midst of this national dialogue, our focus is on fostering civility as people express differing opinions in our community. That last sentence in particular is why we've also created these forums for folks to be able to talk together during this. The college itself, and between myself and Brittany, are going to be moderating this event. The college also is, based on the statement, we're going to be the neutral party and allowing each side to express their opinions and their values during this time. So again, we ask you to respect each other as we're talking, and we'll make sure we get to as many people as we can within the hour time that we have allotted here. But I do want us to take a moment to look around the room and kind of this is the purpose of it. We have a number of folks from students, faculty, staff, community members, we have our athletes, we have our campus police, and we appreciate the media being here covering this very important topic. So this is bringing, again, our community together to have these kind of conversations. And so again, we've got an hour devoted to conversation here, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Garcia to get us started. So again, thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Butcher. So like he said, we are kind of picking up off of this from what happened on Friday. So we did have a preliminary talk about this on Friday, and some members who are here today were here on Friday. And so we just kind of want to open up the floor. I really want to initially begin with some thoughts coming from our students. If we have anybody who wants to open up the floor, and then my job will be to just make sure it's being moderated and that no one's being disrespectful, and that if hands go up, that I'm catching the hands and making sure everyone's kind of sharing their thoughts. Does anybody want to open up first?
Hey guys, my name is John Wilson. I don't know how many of you know me already, but I personally do not support the national anthem protest.
Sorry.
Louder, she's okay.
Okay. But my question is really directed directly towards the basketball team. 2 parts, but I'll let them answer the first part first. Why are you guys protesting? What are you guys protesting?
Another question. And then if anybody over here.
The inequalities in America has nothing to do with the flag. I mean, we all love our country. We do love America. We are Americans.
Excuse me, could speakers stand and emote to the point that we can all hear what they're saying?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
We are protesting the inequalities in America. Can you hear me? Louder? We are protesting the inequalities in America as far as just us feel like we're not equal. I mean, it's like with all the everything going on. I'm sorry, this is overwhelming. But everything going on just with the police brutality, or even with someone like the dude shooting up a church and he's taken to Burger King before going to jail. Like it's just different levels of it. Even on this campus, we're getting kicked out of our own gym, saying we're trespassing in our own gym, while there's other teams going in and shooting, like just shooting basketball. So it's just one of those things, just the inequality that we feel like it's not being treated fairly. It has nothing to do with the flag at all.
So my second part. So essentially, inequality is your reason for protesting, even though it's during a specific time dedicated to honor our American flag, our Constitution, and our veterans.
Right, now, we chose that because that is our platform. I mean, we could march up and down the street, but we saw how great of a turnout that was. That didn't go well. That didn't do a lot. And when Kaepernick,
So
when Kaepernick decided to take a knee, and it grabbed the most attention, and it raised awareness. It raised the most awareness around the country, and that's what we're doing. I mean, we're just following that same footsteps.
Okay. So if you guys are, I'm assuming, really passionate about it, what organizations have you volunteered at to spread your message instead of just taking the knee?
Instead of just saying, all right, so we actually have been talking amongst our coaches and other staff and things like that about getting into the community and working with the police. Like after we leave here, we're going downtown to the police department, and we're going to try to get something to where we can all come to a common ground tomorrow for our game. So we can do something other than take a knee, because we're not trying to disrespect the country or our veterans. So we are like reaching out. I worked at a summer camp this summer. So we're trying to get involved with the kids in the community as far as when they do get pulled over, when they are in situations like this, we teach them how to handle it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then ma'am in the back.
Why then couldn't you have just stayed in the locker room rather than come out because it certainly seems like the flag in this country don't mean anything. So, I mean, to me, that would have been a better thing to do.
And again, I don't want this to feel like it's a target thing, so if anybody can answer the question, that's fine. I don't want you all to feel like it's just a target. So if anybody has an answer, Caleb stood up, so we'll go ahead. So her question was, why couldn't you have stayed in the locker room instead of being out there?
Instead of staying in the locker room, which we voted on, we went out to other students around school, we talked in a group meeting 2 weeks prior to our first game, and everyone thought staying in the locker room was way more disrespectful than taking a knee. When a fallen soldier dies, they take knees as it's going on to honor them. When one of us go down and we're hurt, we take a knee until he's helped off the court and he's honored. I mean, just sitting back in the locker room is way more disrespectful because, I mean, they did give us the right to play the game instead of, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but they fought for our right to play the game. So us not being out there is just like completely saying, all right, whatever with the national anthem. Then it becomes something about the flag. It's not about the flag.
Yeah, my name is S.W. Chapman, and The purpose of any educational institution, preschool, pre-kindergarten, home, college, PhD, is to teach character. First of all, to be honest, to be fair. The purpose of sports is to teach the same thing. You don't join the umpire, you don't rough him up, you're not supposed to cuss the fellow players. Am I not right? That's right. But you got rules you go by. If you don't, you're on the bench and you're off the team. You disobey the rules in the code. Now, your character is what you are when you're by yourself and in the dark. Your reputation is what folk think you are, but your character is what God knows you to be. Character. That's first of all in education. When your children and right on through school, you can take a hobo off the railroad and educate him, teach him how to read and write, and he'll come back and steal the railroad because you taught him how to read and write and hoodoo. See, it'd been better for him never to be educated in that degree. But education is life. Everybody is educated. Life is education. But only a few get special schooling. Most people don't get to go to college. Most people don't get special schooling. They have to do it through the hard knock way. So I want to tell you something that an old man influenced me, the president of the school that I went to. And he said, Chapman, it is never right to do wrong to get a chance to do right. It's never right to do wrong to get a chance to do right. You say you have a right to do this, not on school time, not on play time. No, you don't have that right. If you do, then I have a right to come to that game tomorrow and stand up every time 2 points is made and say, boo! Take those 2 points back. Somebody take this old fella up to the woods, huh? All right. But that old man had some great philosophies. It's never right to do wrong to get a chance to do right. And another thing I'm going to leave with you. I'm retired longshoreman. Union 1423, downtown. I'm the only white man on the labor side to ever retire. They couldn't believe it. You mentioned the word Chapman to some of your friends. Oh, I know Chapman. I love them and they loved me. And they still do. I've been retired longer than I ever worked there. You think I raised a fuss because I was the only white man they'd give a job to? Didn't bother me. I was glad I got one because it was quite a hassle when you went to the longshoreman hole to get a job. Anybody ever been down there to get a job? You know the story. You have to really hustle to get a job, don't you? Then there's favoritism. There's errors that are made. I went through all of that. But I stuck it out and I retired in 2003. They paid me to stay home. A good retirement. But I didn't fuss because I was the only white man. I could have gone to the labor board or to, they just couldn't forget it, man. If somebody else paid the price, I want a job. I didn't want to be thrown overboard by somebody that didn't like me. Maybe I was a coward, but I wasn't afraid of dying because I'm hell-proof. Okay, I got saved 62 years ago. But I tell you, you do right if the stars fall. If you don't have a real reason why you're doing this, don't dishonor that flag nor the rules that the school lays down on you. Now, the leaders, I know it's time, I'm fixing to stop. The leaders have already said we would prefer you to do it. Well, why don't you follow their leadership? Why don't you follow their leadership and get out where you're going on the street and demonstrate? That's what I would encourage you to do.
Thank you. So we're going to have a check-in moment real quick with Dr. Butcher. So thank you for sharing that.
Just two quick items. I know we've got folks coming in the back. We do have seats up front here if you'd like to come and have a seat as well. And just to let you know, this will also be live streamed by the media as well. This event, again, being thankful that it's being covered on this, again, this important topic. So,
okay, thank you. So we'll go. I saw these hands over here. So.
My name is Colin Jones. First of all, I want to respect the basketball team for doing this because at the end of the day, all of us will talk about the situation that's going on, but they're the ones who's going to bear the brunt of whatever is going to happen to them going forward or back because we don't know what's going on with them through their lives of who's telling them what, like we don't like for this or that or the third. But we're at a college. This is a place where you can show your views, and if you don't feel like something is right, you can say something about it. That's how it should go. Because we're somewhere where this is college, man. This isn't high school. Your mind is going to be open to anything, to new people, to new visions, and everything that you're going to go through. So if there's any way you can express that, it's here. You should be able to. And credit you in your life and everything that you had to go through. But this is us. So if we feel as if something is going wrong or there's social injustice, we have to say something. If we don't say anything, you know what's going to happen. They did that because if they're in the locker room being quiet, ain't nobody going to see that. If they out there and they putting themselves on the line like that for people to see what's going on, they going to say something. It's amazing how silence can say so much. The boys didn't say nothing. They didn't yell and say, oh, whatever. They just took it in and they saw that. And not everybody wanted to say something. So now this conversation can be had so we can figure out where to go going forward.
That's right. All right,
my name is William Lagra. I was in the Navy for 5 years, so I will never take a knee for the flag, but I do understand why they did that. I served for them to have that right, and they have that right. The only problem, because I play both sides, I'm basically the middleman. I agree with taking a knee, but I also agree with the people who say don't take a knee. If you look at it, in 40 years, we haven't changed. It's not about the flag, it's not about, for you guys, but it's a race thing. In 40 years, we haven't changed at all. It's still black and white. There's other people out there, Mexicans, Spanish, it don't matter. Why can't we just be one? Why has it got to be black or white? You always see it in the news. A black dude got pulled over. A black dude got shot. White people get shot too. Mexicans get shot too. Look at the bigger picture in society. Stop worrying about a flag or the NFL or anything like that. Worry about the homeless rate of veterans that's 35%. Worry about that
too. My name is Matthew Jones. No relation. But what I was going to say is I also want to give my respect to the veterans that are here and my respect to the basketball team. Everybody keeps, what I'm hearing is the common thread is, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But obviously they got their message across because so many people saw it. So if you don't want them to get their message across, that's a different story. But if you're giving them a solution that's not a solution, like most people are giving them a different problem. Instead of protesting with your knee on the court where everyone can see you, do it in the locker room. But that's disrespectful. And also, no one can see it happening. So if someone is going to come today and they don't like the take a knee stance, then I'm just offering you a challenge to provide a different solution instead of providing a different problem.
There you go.
Come on, young man. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you for sharing.
So,
No, you're good. You go. Yes.
So, back to what Colin was saying, I mean, I do agree, this is our time. We're all college students. We all have our own individual opinions. Colleges are institutions for individual thinking and higher learning. At the same time, when you put on a athletic jersey that every student at this college pays $178 athletic fee and a certain percent goes to the basketball team, they don't have, in my opinion, the right to represent me with the money that I support them. Go ahead.
So you're correlating them standing for the flag to the money that's in their pocket.
Right.
I'm lost.
You're saying that you're saying you want your money back. So if you got your money back, you're cool with them taking the knee. So you're cool.
I don't want
so you're saying your money is on the flag. So you're saying
they're kneeling.
okay, but you just said that if you got your money back, you cool with it.
I'm not cool with that. I still don't agree with that. Hold on. Let me talk.
Okay, wait. Just remember,
I'm not cool with it, but at that point, it's not my decision because I don't financially support them. So they can do whatever they want.
But they're still American. Just because the money go away don't mean they is not American.
And you know what? That's their First Amendment right.
Okay, so you should respect that with your money. There's so many other things.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
So
you're gonna? I know personally. Are you gonna support a presidential candidate with money that you don't support his policies? Are you? Yes or no?
You know, John.
Yes or no?
You know how I feel about Trump. But you know, at the end of the day, he's the president. You know what I'm saying? That's their right.
Would you donate money to him
if it helps them? So what are you, John? What are you saying? So you're saying that
I'm saying you should not be forced to donate money or contribute money to a political agenda that you do not agree
So
with.
the money that you were to get back, would you put it somewhere in the community like you said you wanted it?
I just might.
You just might, but you won't.
I'm sure I would.
But you're not saying you will.
What's that?
Do you lift weights on campus, or do you like?
No, I don't.
You don't do any.
I go to Bailey's down the road. No, I
You
don't.
don't do anything on campus. Some of that money it goes to.
It's the percentage that goes to the basketball team that I'm proposing to be refunded.
So you want
to
$3
just the basketball team.
We'll take a time out here, that's okay.
And I have a petition right here with over 150 names as of now that feel the same way I do. That's all I have.
Okay, so that's okay. Thank you for sharing that. We'll keep the petition piece for the end of this, if you can discuss that with Dr. Butcher, but we're here to discuss
Well, that's my first amendment, right?
educational.
It's the petition.
Right,
And that is also
and you
their
can. Well, thank you all for sharing, but again, let's remember to speak in respectful manners. Let's not do too much bantering back and forth. Keep your hand up, I'll see you, and we'll make sure we're having a civil discussion about this. But I thank you all again, this is a very hot topic, so I appreciate your passion on the conversation. And then I have this gentleman's hand up here in the back.
I'm Bill Sanders. I know this young man served. I'd like to see the rest of the young men that have served in the service.
What about young women with long
Young women too, yes ma'am. And of those young men and young women, I believe most of them would fight to defend the flag. That's all we're saying. It's nothing to do with the basketball team protesting civil rights, emotional rights, whatever. It's the flag and our national anthem, which these people fought to preserve. You owe them, if you don't owe yourself, you owe them. Here's a man in a wheelchair. You owe him. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you. We'll go back here.
Hey there, guys. My name is Jersey. I may not look like it if I'm a student here. I'm a little older. I never really thought about this before all this happened. I never really thought about the flag as much as I do now. I never thought about the anthem as much as I do now. And I asked folks then. I asked a friend of mine, his stepfather was a retired colonel in the Army. And he said, and I wonder what his feelings were. I wonder what these guys' feelings are. And I kind of got an idea of what my feelings are now too. I'm not sure, I may offend some folks in the military, but I've never been from the military. I don't know what it's like. I didn't raise my hand on that, so I don't know what your feelings are. But I respect your feelings to however you want to go with that. But to me, it means more than that. It means more than just the military. It means an idea. It means freedom of speech, freedom to disagree, freedom to have talks like this amongst the community with all ages, all colors, all students and faculty, and getting together and be able to have a freedom of expression. And that's the one biggest thing that's going on here. And that's something to be celebrated. The fact that they're able to do this in America and other countries don't have that right. And that's fantastic that we live in a society that allows that. And what's getting lost is actually their message. That's the first thing we're talking about. What they're talking about is also, I don't know what it's like to live like a black folk. Or an older folk. It's absurd for me to even think what it's like to live like an African American in this country. I have seen racial discrimination in my job. But the gentleman over here, I know he's seen it from his perspective. I couldn't possibly comment on that. I also couldn't possibly comment on opportunities that are not afforded to these folks that are afforded to me that I don't even know about. So these are the things that I think that's getting lost in these discussions. Whether you want a refund for that, that's fine. But the bigger thing is having compassion for our military, for our older folks, for the other folks, that don't have the same skin color as us. I think that's the biggest message for this entire topic.
Come on now.
Hello, I'm Sarah Sheehan. I'm actually the daughter of a veteran, and I have cousins serving in Germany and Colorado right now. Sorry, voice is kind of going out. First off, I want to say thank you, troops, for fighting for my freedom. And then I want to say thank you for showing me what freedom was.
All right
Regardless, when I saw that NFL player get on a knee because
he said, I'm not standing up for a country that doesn't stand up for me. That's a lot. And the fact that I can't do anything about what I see on the news or Facebook. But somehow you can. Look at this huge ruckus we've made. You're gonna notice what's happening. You're gonna know what's happening. We respect you. Just like y'all fight for us, thank you. Oh, our First Amendment says we can do this. We're not hurting nobody. And I'm not gonna kneel for the anthem, but I will hold your hand. Thank you.
All right.
Hello, my name is Kevin Perry. I'm a veteran as well. I know most people don't know me here at school. I'm pretty new. My take on it, since I came from a veteran, I didn't fight for the flag. I didn't fight for the anthem. I fought for people to have freedom of speech, for people to have the right to say what they want to, when they want to, where they want to, because this is America. This is what the United States is supposed to be about, regardless if you're black, white, brown, purple, green, or any other color. And one of the major aspects I think is lost in this whole discussion, and now it's turning more into a black against white discussion, is because, and unfortunately, I'm half and half. My mother's white. My mom looks like Marilyn Monroe. My dad looks like Wesley Snipes. So I got both, right? But the point is, there's a lot of people that can't put themselves in other people's shoes, don't want to and can't. For example, my mom doesn't know how it is for me to grow up as a light-skinned black kid, whatever you want to call it. My mom don't know. I grew up in Germany for 20 years. My mom wanted to give me the most typical German name. She acted like I'm completely German. I mean, I grew up German, but for example, my mom never understood the fact that, okay, I'm your son, you my mom, but I'm light-skinned, mama. Certain things come with that. In Germany, in the United States, it doesn't matter where, okay? Some people can't put themselves in those shoes, and that's fine, that's okay. But just because you can't do that, don't tell other people what they can and cannot do. Don't tell other people, you know, you can't kneel, you disrespecting my flag. Let's be honest, half of this country ain't never done nothing for the flag at any point in time.
Come on.
And for most of those people to sit there and be complaining and crying and bitching like you're doing this to this, my flag and this, I get it. But at some point in time, human life is way more important than a piece of fabric in my eyes.
Come on.
Thank you again for your input. We're going to take a minute, and then Dr. Butcher has one announcement real quick, and then I'll go to you, sir, here in the back.
Just a quick update for folks who have come in. Again, we're having a respectful, open, and civil conversation about a pretty hot topic that's complex and emotional. Again, we have our media here, and it's also being live streamed as well, again, to show the importance of this particular topic. So again, thank you for how this has been going so far and for the rest of it. So.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir, here in the back.
Yeah, my name is Jay Moreno. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Fine. I would stand, you'll forgive me, if I could stand, I would. I'm a 69-year-old Vietnam veteran. I graduated from this college in 2015 with a BS in public management. I then knocked out an MPA from BSU the next year. I'm currently the senior business major in this college. I'm also probably the world's oldest SBA senator this year. Okay? Just a quick show of hands. How many of you read the coverage of this event in the Brunswick News? Anybody? Okay. Then you may well, if you read the e-edition, you may have seen these comments. I want to read just two comments that came from the public. Now I'll tell you up front, the second one is mine. It's going to anger quite a few of you, but I would wish that you would all just hold it down until you hear the whole thing, okay? The first response is from a Ronald Dean Bowles, and for some reason they list where you went to college. This guy went to Ohio State. He says, do the players know what they are protesting, or are they doing it to get attention? My response, and mine says Valdosta State for some reason. Mr. Bowles, that was a rhetorical question, right? the overwhelming probability is that those players cannot fully describe their rights under the First and 14th Amendments, respectively, semicolon, tell you who we declared our independence from in 1776, tell you what George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were noted for other than owning slaves, tell you who the great emancipator was, much less that he was a Republican, tell you the significance of the words Juneau, Gold, and Utah, or tell you the issue settled in Brown v. Board of Education. However, if you will give them a minute to Google all of those things, parenthetical, all common knowledge among their older and wiser, presumptively supposed racist systemic oppressors, close parens, on their omnipresent auxiliary brain iPhones, they can read to you the Wikipedia versions. What I can tell you with ontological certitude is that not one of those heavily subsidized student athletes has ever been a slave, has ever been denied equality of opportunity, and has never even heard a credible, verified story of an American who has, in their parents' lifetimes, much less theirs, been denied de jure or de facto equal access in these United States of America to the opportunity to maximize their individual human potential. It has been said that when you are 25, if you are not a liberal, you have no heart. When you are 35, if you are not a conservative, you have no brain. Among us baby boomers and our children, that maturation process has thankfully produced enough knowledgeable conservatives with elected brains adequate to the task of ensuring America's thriving survival and preeminence in the free, democratic, capitalist, civilized world. It remains to be seen if that maturation process will stay true to form in the pseudo-social justice warrior snowflake generation. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you for that.
Amen.
Great. So
How many did you talk to before making that
for a
judgment?
while, so we'll take it here. Thank you for sharing that, Jay.
Y'all, I said my name already, right? Okay. Sorry to begin. There were several different things that I heard that were of discrepancy in my brain. First of all, I do know what the First Amendment is. And to paraphrase it for you, I will say, thank you. So I can just make a checklist. I do know what the First Amendment is, and I can paraphrase it for you. It says that Congress shall make no law regarding an institution that stops students, that prevents the people in the institution from petitioning the government regardless of grievances. And that's not the entire thing, but that's the part that is focusing on this institution. Because the grievance is injustice among African Americans in the United States of America and things of the nature of, like, I know you said, what did you say?
And you can take a couple points. And
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of them
Yeah.
because they're a lot. But,
well, we had several hands that may touch on some conversations.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop that point right there, and I'm going to go to the second point that I had agreements on. You say the overwhelming probability of those players cannot fully describe their rights under the First and 14th Amendments, respectively. Say that who we declared independence from in 1776. Say what George Washington is from. There it is. Tell you who the great emancipator was, much less that he was Republican. The great emancipator was Abraham Lincoln, and he was a Republican before the great switch of the Democratic and Republican parties and their ideal systems. So he is technically not a Republican. He was considered a Republican in 1864, and he is no longer considered a Republican. He is considered a Democrat based on his ideals. Second of all, okay. Alright, so you said that I personally don't know anything about being a slave. I'm a black man in America. I have a target on my back the second I came out of my mom. That's the first thing. Second thing, with that being said, you telling me you never heard me be called a slave. You're right, but my mom has to tell me, hey, be careful when you go out of the house. Hey,
Make sure when you go in the store, you know exactly what you're going to get so you can come out as quick as possible. So don't nobody think.
Don't put your hands in your pockets because they might
Nobody
be trying to
thinks that I'm doing something. So what you're saying is there are times in a generation where a generation has to speak up for themselves. Understanding your elders, yes, that helps a lot. But at the end of the day, everything you guys give us in terms of knowledge, in terms of a frame, we have to paint a picture for our generation. That's what we have to do. And things like this which prove that we can do this. So when the history books are written down the line, they can say, you know, these people in this time, they figured out social injustice was a problem. They did their best to help it going forward. So you calling us, not saying you called us this, but calling us snowflakes and calling us soft, that's just because that's what we feel that needs to happen. We need more compassion. I wasn't trying to go first. But I want this woman to speak, but she's had her hand up this whole time.
Yeah, so I was gonna do this triangle right here, so.
I know I spoke on Friday, and I'm speaking again. My name is Doris Polite. I'm a non-traditional student, and I have a nonprofit organization called AllOnGeorgia. And I'm gonna respond to two statements. This gentleman, I think he was a vet. 3 statements. This gentleman said here that he cannot relate being African American. And I kind of want to spill on that a little bit because for the simple reason, everybody want to jump on the flag and talk about they dishonoring. But you didn't hear that word about, they was talking about brutality to black men. Nobody is expounding on that. And so we as African Americans need other people to come to have compassion about they killing our boys. Nobody not saying that. My great-great-grandfather fought in World War I, the Civil War, World War I, and World War II. I had family members from the Huffle Plantation worked as a slave. My grand-uncle in 1900 worked in Rice Plantation right out here to Huffle up till he was 10 years old. So yes, I do have a relationship with my family member directly telling me the relationship that they had being a slave. So you didn't know that, but I'm imparting that to you because you was not aware. So you're not aware of these brothers are trying to tell you what's absolutely happening. As a unity, as a community, I think you say, well, we don't want them to kill you. That's what you really need to be saying. We want you to live to be old men like you are and I am, to be 60 and 70. So why is that happening? Because of an oppressive society. So that's what I got to say. And I wanted to say that to you, to impart to you. And like that brother from Germany, you're absolutely right. I have 2 sons, nephews, uncles, grandfathers. And that's all we have heard in our community, in part with other people, that we are still living in an oppressive society. And I want to thank you for saying, being, that they gave you the right. Yes, all of us fought the fight of being in war every day in America, outside of going to a foreign country. Some of the times they send us overseas and we don't even know what the war is about. So don't get caught up with the trick. But I do want to save my boy's life, and I want to save any boy's life, not just African American boys, but those boys took a stand and we should applaud them. Nobody's not saying, I think it's an ignorant statement to say that we dishonor the flag. Ain't number one America in the world.
My name is Buddy Owen, and I'm a graduate of this fine school, and I graduated before most of y'all were born. One of the first classes I took was speech class, and I loved the public speak. And I can get real long-winded, but fortunately for you, I developed Bell's palsy last week, and my words won't form real well, so I got to cut it short. And I'm going to share a portion of a very significant life experience. There's a wall of separation in this country. There's a wall of separation between black and white, rich and poor, those who have and those who do not, the educated, the uneducated, the weak, the old, the infants. There's a wall in America. And this wall is thick and it's tough and it's going to stay there unless there's one thing in the world that will knock down that wall, and that is Jesus Christ.
My name is Merlin Burgess, and I'm going to be short. But I understand the protest that we're all hearing about and seeing is against the police. So now I'm confused as to why the flag is being disrespected because you have a grudge against the police. Now the solution to that is behave yourself, go home at night, get off the streets, and the police are there to help you. So that would solve the whole problem. You wouldn't have to be on your knees. You ought to be on those for Jesus Christ. You ought to respect these police because when you get in trouble, they're there for us. They're there to save us. They don't disrespect us. You bring disrespect on yourself.
All right. Thank you. I know you put your hand up for a while. You have
Alright. We're gonna try to be as brief as possible. Alright. 1864 was the end of slavery, right? But 1964 was when the Civil Rights Act was signed. That was 100 years. That was 100 years that just because they were so-called free, they were not allowed the excess of the freedoms of our Caucasian brothers. And then we moved forward and we realized that things weren't fixed just because the 13, 14, 15 were signed in those 100 years prior. They still weren't able to vote. And there's still a discrimination, there's still a stereotyping left in America. A heavy discriminatory attitudes toward African Americans, especially. Not to say that police brutality isn't an issue for everyone, but when one is getting 2.5 times arrested, which is the African American community, and 47% more likely to be wrongfully convicted, we must think, why? Because the stereotyping, because of discrimination, because I'm guessing most of us are college students here, so I'm guessing most of us are in the streets. And most of us are in our books. And just like these fellows who work out and do their best on their basketball court, that none of us fit that stereotype. But that doesn't mean we won't be discriminated against. Because when you think about a black man, what do you think? What is the first thing you think? Do you think of someone sagging their pants? Do you think about somebody who fits a certain archetype in your head? Because I promise you, I don't fit that. And that's because we're all different. And we shouldn't all be thrown into a box and thought, this is how African American men are. That's incorrect. Anybody deserves the sanctity of being a human being, making their own mistakes, not being an imprint, a stereotype perpetuated by the media, is why you probably think that most African American men are gangsters. You think they're drug dealers. You think they're this, that, and the third. But they can be anything they want to be. And that's the problem. They think they're in the streets. They think they that. But that doesn't mean that they can't be like Obama. They couldn't be like Stephen Curry. They couldn't be like Nelson Mandela. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And until we think, hey, does this flag, do African Americans actually get treated the same in the media? Do you really think, do any of you in this room think that you are treated with the same candor, the same justice. I don't think that's true at all. I think the justice system tells you that. If you do your research, if you guys don't believe what I'm saying, that's all cool. That's all cool. I want you guys to do some research, look at our justice system, look at stop and frisk, look look at some lawyers and like, how are you going to choose people that don't believe in that stereotype of African American male? Because that's what a lot of people believe. And if you keep on, and I know there's a cognitive dissonance in this room that's going to keep on reverberating the same tired, this is about the flag, you're right, it might be about the flag because it's not supporting African American male. Yes. If it did, you don't have a problem. No one will be kneeling. That discrimination exists. And that flag needs to stand for everybody. Because, a lot of African Americans die for that flag too, just like my friend over here. And they deserve the same right, the same choices. And I don't. Do your research, people. Stop listening.
I'd like to say one question. I have the privilege of graduating, and most of y'all don't know the people, Charlene Hunter and Hamilton Holmes at the University of Georgia. Hamilton Holmes was a black man, young man. He came to the co-op, we played cards with him, we drank coffee, we had more fun than anything. Charlene Hunter was a black woman. She walked with the FBI with a parasol over her head everywhere she went. Hamilton Holmes tried to talk to her, "You're not helping our cause." She said she didn't care. I respect Hamilton Holmes. He's dead. I'm sorry y'all didn't get to know him. He's a medical doctor. He's a great guy. And you need to study a little bit about Hamilton Holmes to find out everything you can about him. What a wonderful, and he, by the way, was from Atlanta, Georgia, graduated from the University of Georgia, and went to the Medical College of Georgia. So he stayed in the, quote, black school of Georgia.
Thank you for that. I want to remind you all that we are hitting the 10-minute mark, so just remember, keep your statements brief because we want to try to get to as many people as we can. So I'm going to tap on some new voices. I see some new hands up, so I'm going to come over here.
Hey guys, my name is Kelsey. What I feel like I've been hearing a lot while I've been here is like people constantly saying, "Oh, it's about the flag, this is about the flag, you're disrespecting the flag." But as we have also said multiple times, it is not about the flag, it's not about disrespecting the flag. What it's about is it's a protest against police brutality, and honestly I feel as if making it about the flag is kind of it's an excuse to change the subject about something else. What the real issue is about police brutality and all the inequalities and injustices that are happening to the African American community. And making it about the flag, you're just directing this attention on something that it's not about. It's not about the flag at all. It's about injustice and police brutality and inequality, not the flag. Thank you very much.
My name is Charles. I'm about the basketball team. I would just like to say these guys aren't doing nothing wrong. They're like my brothers. But I like to talk about what the young lady said about it's all about the police. Not every police officer is the same. I see the police officer back in the corner. I don't know his name, but I see him all the time. He talks to me, he says what's up to me all the time. The two back here, I don't see them as often, but they don't do nothing wrong. So it's not about just the police. Now, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Now I've had situations with police officers pulling their guns out on me, and yeah, I feel like I'm about to get shot, but I'm not going to say every police officer is the same. So there's good ones, there's bad ones. There's police officers that will know, like Brandon said, we're trying to go up to the police station and talk to them. So I understand where you're coming from, but
obviously throughout the years. We're trying to talk to the ones that actually do and try to change the minds of the ones that want to actually come back.
Thank you.
My name is John Benstermacher. Yes, I retired Navy. I didn't retire medically. I actually did 20 years. Thank God for that. Revisionist history. Lincoln was the emancipator. Lincoln still is a Republican. If you don't believe that, ask who was doing the Three-Fifths Compromise. I think it was Dixiecrats. Look at your history. If I say stars and bars, does that get anybody's attention? Why? Does that excite you? Does that make you upset? Do you have a little bit of animosity towards in your heart when you hear stars and bars? If you don't know what that is, it's a Confederate battle flag. Now do you know what I'm talking about? So here's my thing. You might have as much animus in your heart towards the stars and bars as you have, but you have no clue about the love in our hearts, being veterans, for that flag that's flying now that protects every single American on the soil. You complain about injustices in America. God knows we've got it. I know we've got it. Here's the deal, people. Try it in a different country. See how bad it is there. Okay? So here's the thing. E pluribus unum. Does anyone have a clue what e pluribus unum is?
Out of many, one.
Out of many, one. What one thing are we going to stand behind to unite us as people, as a college, as brothers and sisters? I'm not mad at y'all, okay? I bring people home. I brought people home that were under that flag. I'm sorry, it might be disrespectful to say it. I don't think anyone has a right to kneel to that flag who hasn't brought someone home or who hasn't known someone who's been brought home under that flag. And it's not because of a political viewpoint. It's because that person laid their life on the ground, shed their blood. Some of them came back with body parts missing. Some of them came back with parts of their brains missing from PTSD. The flag is a bigger issue. I will stand with you guys any other time of the day. God willing, my schedule lets me do it in college. To stand with you guys, to say, let's get something going. Let's have this documentary not be a documentary, but be a change. And let's affect that change. But when you've got students, when you've got family members coming in to see the basketball game, we're there to see y'all succeed, not see y'all protest. I understand y'all don't want to do it inside the locker room, but I tell you what, it would do my heart personally, and a few other people probably better, for y'all to come out after the national anthem. That's fine, because then there's no longer that question of what, if you're presenting one way or another, what's in your heart. Had too many people come home under that flag for us to take a knee over it.
Okay, thank you for that.
Right. Yeah.
So we're close to 5 minutes, so we're going to come here and then here, and we'll see where we're at with time.
I'm Brittany. I done had my hand raised from a long time.
Yes, you go ahead.
You go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay, just go. You know I'm not at home.
No, we're just kind of popping around. Sorry, but you can go ahead. That's okay.
I mean, no disrespect to you guys. I think part of you is a listen. There are so many areas that I can help. I can't tell you exactly what my ancestors did. I can't. I wasn't there. I know what I was taught. I know what I was taught. And to me, I respect you, gentlemen. I got veterans all through my So please don't take what I'm saying as being disrespectful. Okay? Because I truly understand where you're coming from. What I would love to know is, after we discuss the flag and how you feel like they disrespected, really, how do you really feel about the inequality? How do you really feel about about why they feel like they're protesting? You see what I'm saying? So, I understand you guys, because sometimes to get people's attention, the reason we're in here now, because it was done on a platform where everybody tends to pay attention. Doing it, I love you, Kathy, but doing it in the locker room, I don't think nobody going to the locker room for a game. I don't. And actually boils down to power and privilege. It does. You have those who tend to ignore it. You have those who tend not to say anything because they don't want to cause any problems. You know. But then you have those like me. I am a true believer in being able to agree to disagree. I am. But at the same time, for any of you guys that really know me, I'm a realist. And I thank God He's blessed me to be able to say what's on my heart and what's on my mind. This is something that should have been addressed a long time ago. See, the way I feel about inequality, it's there. It has always been there. You see what I'm saying? I just had a discussion in class with this lady, and she was Caucasian. And she was expressing how she felt that it was wrong because she was tired of reading and listening as to how, you know, she's gotten to where she is today because of power and privilege. Let's be honest here, okay? Since the beginning of time, since we're talking about all these slaveries, and the way, no, I mean, we're not crazy, and the way they were treated, we were taught not, well, my ancestors were taught. They weren't supposed to read, you know, and the list goes on and on. So therefore, what you're looking at is this group of people that has this power and privilege that has a 300-year start, 300 or more year start. Okay? You know, it is what it is. That being said, change has been needed a very long time ago. It has. And while you might not like it, for those of power and privilege who has been reaping the benefits of an inherently racist system, if you're not talking about change and what we can do to level the playing field, I'm sorry, it's not being heard. These gentlemen, they're tired. Like I said, I can't talk about, you know, my ancestors and how they went through what they went through. What I can talk about is what I live every day. I can. And please forgive me if I offend some of my co-workers, some of the students. I'm a student too. I am. Working on my second degree. I am. This is my thing. Let me tell you a little bit of what I live every day. I think it's important, first of all, it starts with education. What you're looking at is you have this norm of what has been going on forever. And therefore you get people who don't really pay it in mind. They don't understand it. They don't pay it in mind because you know what? It's the norm. It is. But now you have people who's taking the time to start learning a little bit more about their history. And guess what? It is not just African American history. It is all about history. It is. Because I can guarantee you, y'all played a big part. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, please forgive me if I'm offending anyone, but it is what it is. What you have to look at is, look at where you go to school now. Look at yourself around campus. They're expressing inequality because when you look at it, there is one African American course that's taught. There's 22 French courses, 15 Spanish, on and on with English. That's not equality. It's not. It's not. When you look at the African Americans on campus, I think there's roughly 7 or 8 African American staff here at College of Coastal Georgia. And umpteen, no. I'm not going to say just umpteen because you got a few other minorities in there. But that's not the equal playing field. It's not.
I just want to interrupt you and wrap up so we can touch a couple more people.
Oh, I will. I'm supposed to end it right now. I'm supposed to end it right now. Because I'm just like, whatever. I could go on and on. But my thing is, when you look at us, we should be one race. But unfortunately, our history it's not gonna allow it until people now, we can talk about what happened back then all day long, but until people now actually start saying, that's enough. I got stopped 2 months ago. And you know what the officer told me? He said, ma'am, give me your license and your registration and step to the back of the car. Okay? Now I got my kids with me. I know I didn't have to, but I'm not all about playing with my cousins. You know. My co-worker, we were sitting and discussing. Because like I said, I'm a very open person and respectful of other people's feelings. And he told me, he said, you know, that bothers me. I got stopped in the same town by a Caucasian. And when she walked up to my truck, I immediately told her, ma'am, I'm reaching for my permit because I do have a weapon. She said, oh, I'm not worried about that. I just noticed that you had a tail light. So when you're talking about equality, you got to start with education. You got to, if you're not taught, because you can't really speak on someone else's culture. We need more than one African American course out here so people can be taught. If you're not taught, you're not going to have that much of an understanding. You can't. And I don't knock anyone for that, but I think it's important in order for us to start change, we have got to start learning more. And I'm not just saying that to other races. I'm saying that for everyone, especially our African American males and people in general. It has to be, we have to be educated. We do. So, that's my personal opinion.
We're at the 4 o'clock mark, but I know we had 2 hands here, and then Dr. Butcher is going to help us in wrapping up and see where we go from there. So, if you want to go ahead and
my name is Ricky Sebastian. I'm a Portuguese American here. Gone to this college for 2 years. 2 months ago, a month ago, a week ago, probably an hour ago, I would have told you that kneeling for the flag was wrong. I would have told you that people not standing for our national anthem is incorrect. But then I sit here and I hear some of the comments that people are making. You don't know our First Amendment. Why? Because you're a basketball player? Because you're black? You don't know who we fought the Revolutionary War against. Why? Because you're a basketball player? Because you're black? Does he think that I know it because I'm white? I don't think that's right. Martin Luther King in 1964 said, darkness can't beat darkness. Only light can. Hate can't take hate out. Only love can. And it hurts to hear that us as Americans are against each other just because of the color of our skin. Only past that, in 1968, when Tommy Cruise and John Carlos in the 1968 Olympics raised their hand in the Black Power salute during the national anthem, because there were problems in our country. There were problems in our country. That's why they did it. 2017, we're kneeling for our flag because there are problems in our country. And I, for one, didn't believe that an hour ago. I didn't believe that a week ago. I didn't believe that a month ago, watching the NFL and seeing people do that. I had arguments with my supervisor here. She's sitting in the over there back all happy because she was like, finally he's listening. And I understand that. I can't believe the inequality and injustices that are happening in our country. And I would just like to take a second and shake this man's hand. Because I can't believe what's going on in your life. And I can't.
Deciding to open my mind to all the possibilities that college can give me, I realized that, there really is a problem in this country of social injustice, and because of the way I was raised, I didn't see that growing up at all. And so I really want to thank you guys for taking chance, the opportunity to make this discussion happen, because honestly, for both of you, everyone would just be ignoring it and just pushing through it. And just, some people are saying that's what we should do, and I don't agree with that at all. And this is going to be really, like, maybe this is bad, I don't know, but if you told us that we were the snowflake generation, sir, then I respect your opinion, I respect our forces, and I have family that have been in the military. I'm going really fast, sorry. But honestly, sir, because of this conversation that we're having, and because of this act that these boys did, not out of disrespect for the flag, but because they're talking about police brutality and standing up for it, like, I think we're the generation that's going to change the world.
Stay true.
So thank you all for sharing. So we have come to our time, and I understand that this is, again, we said this very hot topic, and so I'm going to pass the floor over to Dr. Butcher to close this out. But I appreciate you all having these conversations and allowing me to help moderate that. So thank you.
Just a couple of things to wrap us up with. Again, thanks. Can we give a hand to Brittany Garcia for moderating? Thank you all, because what we did here today was create the environment for civil, respectful discussion.
Right.
And so what I want everyone to do is go talk to people that agree with you on this topic, but I challenge you to talk to people who disagree with you on this topic and take that next step of how do you help educate and learn each other's viewpoints so you can learn within yourself what's the next step you take from here. And so I thank you for taking the time out of your day, for everyone who has been here, who participates. Again, the discussion doesn't end here. Let it keep continuing on campus, and thank you so much for being here.
Great.